In the name of the one holy and undivided Trinity. Amen. Let's have a seat. Why are there astrologers visiting the baby Jesus? In the Christian church, we celebrate this major holiday every year, Epiphany, celebrating the astrologers who came to see the baby Jesus. This is weird. You can just acknowledge that. We can say that out loud. And the text itself is not much help at explaining this phenomenon. Much of our picture and the nativity scenes we get come from Luke's version of the gospel. But the Magi come from Matthew's telling of it alone. And we hear of these Magi, translated as wise men, or to sort of smooth over that irregularity a little bit. Translation is always political, FYI. The actual word is Magi. Their job description is star readers, coming from the East, which is vague. The East is big as an area to come from, and we don't have much more specific information than that. We know from the text that they went to Jerusalem first to ask where the child was, and they ask a pretty risky question. They ask about the baby who is born King of the Jews. Herod, the Roman client king of Judea, his job title, when he was assigned this territory to tax and subdue and control, was King of the Jews. We know that these men had enough clout eventually to get an audience with Herod. It's really beyond me what these Magi thought might happen when they went to the occupying military lead to ask where the baby is that's stealing his job. Herod's like, oh, great, I'm so tired of this exhausting work. I'm just really tired of building all these things and taxing everybody. Please, we'll just let the baby take care of it. Well, I don't know what they were expecting there. We do hear in the text that Herod decides to use these Magi to locate that baby. And if astrologers in the highest office in the land is causing you flashbacks to Nancy Reagan, it's okay. Just breathe. Breathe. Everything has already happened before. Herod pretended that he wanted to know about this special birth. But we know it was so he could eliminate that threat. That's what tyrants do to threats. That's what illegitimate leaders do to threats. So what do these star readers do? They find the child and are filled with joy. They offer the child their treasures, luxuries they really ought to have offered to the king, but instead offered to this poor child. And then they left quietly, not returning to Herod as they had promised, but by another road. How do we think about these men and their commitment to the stars? I'd like just today to offer a few entry points into this story, a few lenses that we can click on and off as we look at what this story might mean. 1, we too, in our era, are seeing a bit of an astrological revival. And without getting into truth claims about whether it's real or correct or factually based, without thinking about that, let's think about how astrology functions for people. Madeleine L'Engle wrote in one of her autobiographical books, she was writing this actually during the last round of having a big astrological revival. She was curious about it. She's like, why is this so popular right now? And she noticed that for many people, it was the first time anybody had ever told them that the moment of their birth mattered. That the moment they were born was unique and that they mattered. We live in a world of mass wage stagnation and job loss due to automation. Robots are doing jobs that human beings used to do. People are not paid well for their work. We don't have a voting system that weights our votes equally. It seems comprehensible, given this, that a system that says each individual is unique, irreplaceable, that system would be attractive right now. I wonder if this is a place that the church could help fill some gaps. Because we do have something to say about the irreplaceable beauty and worth and dignity of every human being. Two, click the lenses. In an era when there's a lot of screaming around about how some religious traditions are at war with other religious traditions, in this story we have a model of people with a long-established and widely respected way of interacting with the divine, recognizing something true and beautiful happening within another group's established way of interacting with the divine. Matthew's gospel doesn't tell us, and then the Magi went home as Bible-believing Christians and they converted the whole East. There isn't that last sentence in there. They came to see something that was congruent with their self-understanding. They celebrated it, and then they went home. And in a country ripped apart by clickbait headlines about how Islam is out to destroy Christianity, this is a picture of a different way to be in relationship with one another. Three, click the little lens. Something about this small, brave family with no money and no relatives nearby caused prestigious men to disobey a king. That doesn't happen much in real life. One, in our class-stratified world, incredibly wealthy and powerful men don't often meet poor women and their children. And when they do, they don't often radically change their path, to become disobedient as a result. This is the power of God, though, made quite plain, the God we sang about today in the psalm, the God who relentlessly lifts the lowly. Four, last lens. The true currency of the Magi is not gold. It's curiosity, wonder, stars and dreams. What we read in the text is that they operate based on information they receive from the stars and from their dreams. And in many of our very frantic and busy lives, we don't set aside special time just for stargazing, for wonder, for dreams. It's not productive. It's a hard thing to put on the to-do list or the Google Calendar. But the Magi show us something about that value of that unproductive time. Sometimes it can lead us straight to God.